So is it visible to all? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what happened now when I was in Delhi and everyone was suffering from corona last year in March. So there is a curious case of Delhi arrives. So first there is an organization called JICA. How many of you knows about JICA? Japan International Cooperation Agency. None of you? Just say yes or no. So it will feel like because it's online, I can't see your faces. So it will be like कि आप लोग interact कर रहे हैं वैसे, and it will be a two-way session. Instead of me speaking, we'll ask some questions in between, and yes, no, whatever your opinions are, please express it. So it won't be so boring or so lecture type.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yeah, you are not audible, whoever is speaking, because I am sharing my screen, so I can't able to see who is actually speaking.
Okay. I have worked on some projects in association with JICA. So they generally, it's a Japanese company which funds for Indian infrastructure market.
Right, right. Very good, very good, very good. Exactly. So what they did, because I was in IL and FS, so they reached us, and so everybody, the country was all stuck. Delhi was fully closed. So I don't know from where they got this idea. Yeah, we want to study about Delhi's sewer lines. So it is very familiar to you all, no? Because it's a part of an urban planning. So I guess you guys are very familiar with how the sewer lines has been constructed or how it's being constructed nowadays. So what they said कि हमें ना, so you guys are comfortable with the Hindi or English, right? Both, right? So I'm going to use these both languages to conduct this session. Okay, if anyone have any doubt, uh, just speak. Try not to interrupt anyone, but just ask if you have any question. Just say I have a question, and you can ask question in between the session. Although I have a separate time for Q&A session, but if you have any question related to this case, which I am going to share, you can ask in between. So it's a story. Okay, so what they did, they came to us and said, we want to study about the Delhi sewer lines. We were stuck like, why the Delhi is closed? Every big organization is focusing on health. Why you like to study the sewer lines? They didn't express us so much. They are our clients, so we don't have that much privilege to ask uh, these utterly questions. We got okay, fine, we'll do that. So they came to us to study the sewer lines, how the sewer lines are actually functioning right now. So they said कि do a research. आप ना एक research conduct कीजिए इस पे कि अभी जो दिल्ली में sewer lines है, are they capable of rising usage of water? बस उन्होंने हमें इतना ही बताया, and we got to know कि अभी तो कोई हमें challenge मिल नहीं रहा है, and we contacted Delhi Jal Board, which is responsible for all this. So they said कि नहीं, अभी तो हमारे उसमें कोई मतलब there are few areas where areas like this you can see. So this is East Delhi. You can see my scribbling.
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay, so this is a East Delhi. Don't mind my writing. So there was only this area which was facing the huge sewer clogging. Okay, so they said कि हाँ ठीक है हम research कर लेंगे. We said कि हाँ okay fine. So we developed a questionnaire. We developed an assessment tool, which includes a lot of like 1,865 questions. It included how many questions?
1865.
Yes. So it included and almost these questions, and the variables were like 900 around variables. So we'll talk about variable later. I'll tell you what the variable is. Okay. So we developed this questionnaire. It took us 3 months to conduct the. We took a sample size of 50 areas. There are like urban village. Let me make it red. Urban village. So Delhi is divided into 6 parts: urban village and slums, unauthorized, slums, authorized, and villages. And the Yamuna plains के पास जो है हमारे, if anybody had read Delhi Development Plan, draft plan 2041, you can understand this. Delhi is divided into these parts. So we took a sample size of like 50 areas. We conducted this survey with them on 1865 questions with 900 variables. We used a method, like you can see that one of our recruit is collecting data related to water, and it was more like how the usage of water has been increased in the COVID period. So so we measured it by कि कितना पानी दिन में आता है. Like you can see the picture, or should I delete it? Okay. And we did focus group discussions with the slum members, how the usage of water has been increased, what the challenges they are facing. And we collected all this data and we interpreted it. Okay. And you know, बताओ क्या ऐसा शॉकिंग फैक्ट निकल के आया होगा ये पूरा डेटा एनालिसिस में? Tell me. Any guesses?
Maybe the usage has increased by
Any
twice
guesses?
or
There might be more questions about using cleaner water.
No. So what we get to know that in just 3 months, Delhi has been totally clogged. We conducted this evaluation for 3 months, and after 3 months, we saw okay, the areas like this, this. Central Delhi is more, more posh area, so we can't say anything. But some part of this has been totally clogged. See, has been totally clogged in just 3 months. Anybody wants to tell what the reason can be? Hmm? Anybody? क्या रीजन हो सकता है कि in just 3 months we got this type of clogging in whole Delhi? You guys are urban planning experts and going to be experts. What can be the reason?
maybe the water usage has drastically increased.
Yes, the water usage has been increased by 40%. Because people become very conscious. They started washing their hands. They took bath more time. The number of baths in a day has been increased. The usage of water has been increased. So the usage of water has been increased by 40%, and our sewer lines has not been um, equipped to deal with that sudden uchhal, that sudden rise. So what happened was, if you where the sewer lines are 10-year-old, every sewer line got clogged. But the interesting fact is that after the clogging, it creates a pressure in the sewer line, right? It creates a pressure in the sewer line because it's not only water now, it's fecal contamination, plastic bags, and all. So due to that, in a 50-foot road, suppose this is a 50-foot road and this is sewer line and this is a water pipe, underground water pipeline. Due to increase the pressure, it started leaking. Okay. And आपको पता ही होगा कि जो ये पानी का होता है, अगर इसमें पानी नहीं आ रहा है, मीन्स इफ द वाटर टाइमिंग इज 8 AM to 10 AM, है ना, इस पीरियड में, इससे पहले यानी 7 AM पे जब वहां पे प्रेशर छोड़ा जाता है, तो इट कंप्राइजेस अ ह्यूज प्रेशर, राइट, वैक्यूम प्रेशर. सो इट स्टार्टेड सकिंग दिस, जो यहाँ से लीकेज था, इट स्टार्टेड सकिंग the fecal contamination water into this, and you can't believe that the areas, the POS areas like Janakpuri, Wazirpur, they complained about a dark yellowish water. And we were able to predict this a way ahead of the time. And how it became possible? Because we collected data and we get to know that this can be a reason, right? So that's why, data is very important. Data is very powerful and it's very important. Now last year, means this year only, in December only, JICA has proposed like 2500 CR for urban development for Delhi. So it gives loans. तो 2400 करोड़ रुपए का जीका ने लोन दिया है सिर्फ और सिर्फ सीवर डेवलपमेंट पे, which NJSE, another engineering company, is taking over, and they are going to build the sewer lines which are more updated. I say I'm not an urban planning guy, so please don't judge me for my vocabulary. So they took this initiative, they took this research way ahead, and they created a whole new project from this. So I welcome you all on the class of SPSS, and I will not say that the whole analysis was done on the SPSS. It was more to tell you why data is very important and how can big organizations or even a smaller problems can be predicted and can be solved by data. Nowadays, I don't think कोई भी ऐसी परेशानी है जिसको सॉल्व करने के पीछे डेटा रोल प्ले नहीं करता. So it's a very important tool. It's a very easiest tool. I guess you can learn this in just 2 weeks, and then practice is required. But to understand SPSS is a data analysis tool. It's a data analysis tool, and there are a lot of tools in the market. But why SPSS? So the full form of SPSS is a statistical analysis for the social sciences. So we use this data, and till now it's the ये सबसे ज्यादा, ये जो टूल है ये सबसे ज्यादा यूज होता है एनालिसिस में, जिसका डेटा 80,000 या फिर 1 लाख से कम. 1 लाख से अगर ज्यादा डेटा है देन वी यूज आर. हम उसके एनालिसिस के लिए आर यूज करते हैं, इवन बिकॉज इट्स मोर ऑटोमेटेड. SPSS is not that much automated, but it gives you a good sense of data. So yes, so I welcome you all in the session of SPSS. My name is Rishu Srivastava. I have been working with the Delhi government, Punjab government, Gujarat government, Uttar Pradesh government, and supported them into different type of projects, like from education to urban planning. I supported them into this. If you have any question related to this, you can ask. Did you understand what is the motive of our story? Did you get that? And I really want to hear a lot of voices, because I don't want to be the one. I don't want to be one of the person who only speaks. I want you guys to ask question, and a lot of question. No question is stupid or anything else. Yes.
Can you name a few more analysis software like SPSS?
I didn't get you.
And what is the? Can you name any more other softwares like SPSS? And
Any
why
more?
the data analysis softwares like SPSS?
Okay, there are a lot of like SPSS is there, Stata is there, and Pandas is there. and R language is there. MongoDB is there. But this R and MongoDB is for machine learning, if you guys are aware of it, and AI. It's related to that. Pandas is for Python. Python is like core of all this. Python is core of all these. Pandas, R, or MongoDB. Python is core. SPSS is proper statistical tool, and Stata is also a proper statistical tool. But SPSS is being used in uh, our intellectuals or research papers uh, type of documents. Stata is more used in industry, and because of its functioning limitation, in right now, people you basically prefer SPSS. Is it okay? Am I able to answer your question?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so let's move
I
towards
have
the
one
SPSS.
question.
Yes, sure.
Yeah. What is the main difference between the using Excel and SPSS? Because SPSS also has the interface like rows and columns in SPSS for
Yeah.
providing the data. So,
Yes. Yes.
what are the major differences?
Yes. So the major difference is the Excel. The purpose of Excel is very different, and the purpose of SPSS is very different. So I guess this is a very best question because SPSS has been designed only to analysis data analysis. So when you put a data, you can see a variable one side and the data view other side. You can easily create a descriptive analysis. You can easily create graphs and even complex analysis. Like you cannot do regression analysis in Excel without adding an add-on and calculating it on paper. You don't need to do it on SPSS. You can easily find the correlations, regression analysis, and it gives you accurate data other than Excel. Yes, it has the same boxes and columns. I guess uh, it will be the same for even R have a boxes and columns if you write code. So SPSS is totally for a statistical purpose, not for anything. Excel is for data uh, management, data gathering, and uh, storing the data. But SPSS is not that. You cannot store data into SPSS. Okay, you do the analysis, you take the output, you present it. That's it.
In Excel also we can do multilinear regression and correlation and R
Yes,
statistics,
but
T statistics,
yeah,
everything
yeah,
we can do in that.
yes, definitely you can do. But you have to download it, and you have to
Yeah.
calculate certain like you have to calculate it handily. Means आपको पहले हाथ से calculate करना पड़ेगा, and then you can put into that. You have to clean the data. But definitely, you need to clean the data in SPSS too. But SPSS is more user friendly than Excel, especially in a statistical tool.
Okay.
Nowadays, like in
There,
2009, yeah,
there is add-in tool in Excel.
yes,
We
yes,
can add a tool where we can do all kind of analysis,
yes,
regression,
definitely. But that is an
collinearity.
add-on.
All.
But that is an add-on,
Yeah.
and this tool is already imbibed everything.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you don't need to download uh, uh, everything, and uh, it's more user friendly than Excel uh, in a wake of statistics.
You mean to say interface, user interface?
Yes, user
Like you can
interface
explain
and the
what
whole
is dependent
functionality.
variable and independent variables.
Yes. It's more you cannot put measures to you cannot put a measure to data in Excel.
Yeah. Okay, okay, fine. Thank you.
Right? You cannot decide where the ordinal data is, what is the nominal data is. It's totally for the analysis tool. You have to set and boundaries into pipe into Excel. You don't need to do this in SPSS. You just have to write that this data is nominal. It will automatically
Yeah.
take that this data is nominal.
Right. Correct. Okay.
Okay. So, any more questions? So okay, so let's talk about why data analysis is important, and what first of all what the data analysis is. Data analysis is a process where we use some statistical tool and to make an inference out of numbers. So there are a lot of data around us, like There is a tons of data around us, but how can we make a sense out of it? That's why we use a data analysis. Why it's important nowadays? So we created a 40 zettabytes of data in just 6 years. We create daily like 2.5 quintillions bytes of data daily. That's why Facebook is so rich, and Facebook is a very data extensive company. And the data we have created, 90% of the data we have created in just past 2 years. So you can assume that in upcoming years, how many data is going to be there, and everything will be driven by data. Now it is, but it will be more driven by data. So why data analysis is important? So just I give you, I just like my example, it gives you a clear focus to where did you want to work, where is the required intervention. You solve problems, like we solved the problem, like we projected the problem that in Delhi there is going to be clogging, and we Jika has proposed this to the Delhi Jal board, and they started to work on that. So it's also data gives us tools to innovate, in knowledge to innovate, information to innovate, and solve problems. This is interlinked. Definitely, it also helps in cut cost. This is very self-explanatory. And in market research, this is has been for attract customers. Like nowadays, marketing firms, especially advertising marketing firms, are using data a lot. As you can see, whenever you talk to someone, when uh, and when your phone recognizes that, it gives you only that kind of ads. If you talk about dog food in a call with someone, the next thing you can see that your Instagram or Facebook is giving you ads related to dog food on. So this is what data has been used for marketing, advertising, and all. I will talk about this later. So what the SPSS is? So it's a comprehensive and flexible statistical analysis tool and data management solution. So you can put up very complex data into that, and you can make a sense out of it very easily. So it's used for I like for my previous story, we conducted a survey, and that survey was qualitative as well as quantitative. Sometimes what we do is we change qualitative into quantitative, and we analyze it. We'll talk about this later on. Why this is important, why changing qualitative to quantitative is important. We'll talk about this later. And but survey analysis, SPSS is one of the best tools. So from last if you see from last 10 years, जितने भी जर्नल्स पब्लिश हुए हैं they used SPSS as their core data analysis tool. So it's a very diverse, and IBM is updating it quite frequently, and it's a very strong tool to uh, simplify the data. In a very easy word, if I say, it's a very strong tool to simplify the very complex data into very similar forms, readable forms, and in a form that we can make inference out of it. Okay, where we use this SPSS data is we use in telecommunications, banking, finance, insurance, healthcare, manufacturing, retail, even in planning, urban planning. We use SPSS to understand where will be the route flow, traffic flow will be, uh, traffic stoppage, and all. I guess the data analysis has been hugely used when there was a lockdown, and government has to decide which route to open and which route not to open. So you use in retail, consumer packed goods, okay, how people are using the market behavior, and government use this and market research to create a uh, nudge customers about what they buy, and manipulate uh, to create a manipulation simulations and all. So why SPSS? It's very easy to use. I can say it can only be learned in 2 weeks. and it includes a full range of data management system and editing tools. Uh, uh, Apart from that, the person who asked the question, these are add-ons in Excel. Okay, it provides an in-depth statistical like regression analysis, correlations, uh, hypothesis testing, t-testing, ANOVA testing, Chivera testing.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So are you sharing the screen?
Yes, I am still sharing the screen. It's not
No,
visible.
no, sir, it's not visible.
Is it for everyone?
It's visible.
It's visible. It's visible.
Visible.
Okay, okay.
Is it
So
visible to
sorry,
all?
sorry. So it might be.
Hi, it's visible.
Okay, it's quite visible now, and you can see my scribbling too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so take a time, take a few seconds to see if my screen is visible or not. Let me know when it's visible. Because I don't think I'm facing
Yes,
any.
yes, it's visible. So you can continue.
Okay, I can continue. So these are the things where it has been used, and now the scope of data analysis is increasing. Not just SPSS, but there are more diverse and more accurate tools are coming in the market. Like Python is one of them. Python is the core of any data analysis tool. Python R is basically I use R when the data sets are more than uh, 1 lakh. So it's very easy to simulate and automate the data in R other than SPSS, but it's the SPSS is more user friendly than any of the data in the market, any data analysis tool in the market. Okay, it offer you a wide range of reporting and presentation features. You can integrate with a lot of visualization tools like DY plots and Infographia. You can integrate with them, so it gives you a very robust reporting mechanism. It can create a very robust uh, reporting mechanism, visual appealing reports. So how we actually do that? कौन से files actually our SPSS can read? It can read ASC2 files and other formats like CSV, Excel, and a lot of other, like it can fetch data from SQL. It can fetch from data from online. It can fetch data from GitHub and Kaggle. So you don't need to worry about what type of data it supports, and you have to change the format of the data. You don't need to worry about that. So how it looks like? So whenever you run an SPSS, you get the window like this. Okay, if you are using a proper licensed version, then you can see this dialog where you have an option to run the tutorial and type in data, where if you have existing data file, you can uh, export it to the SPS, import it to the SPSS, and you can start writing on that. And you can also write a query. These are and this is for creating automation, data automation, database wizard create करने के लिए, and run an existing query. If you had already analyzed it in some other tool and you have in that format, you can go through with this. And this is just for importing a data set from any files. So this is the whole. Whenever you start, it looks like that. And as you said, there the window look like this. So it's a very similar to Excel, but you can see there are two windows here: data view and variable view. It's very easy to see. You can see a whole data here, data inputs. So you can see in this window, you can see a whole data inputs and your data collection and all, and the next in and the in variable view, you can see on one pointer you collected the data. So there are two windows where you can see a data, and even you can see variables. So it is very easy to build correlation from that. Okay, fine, because when we see the data, then only it made us curious. Okay, fine, let's compare this variable 1 v1 to the v2. What happened when we compare to this? For this we need to clearly, it helps to us to visualize this. Okay, it's not possible on Excel. Suppose your v1 is here and your v2 is somewhere across the screen. So you cannot actually visualize the data. We need to compare this or not. Definitely you can create a pivot and do that, but here it's in variable view. You can clearly see that there are like hundreds of variables, and I need to compare v1 with v2 or v3. So and to find a correlation between them. So this makes what the statistical analysis very easy. I think this is an award-winning interface of SPSS. Even as Tata came after that, and I feel like they copied it uh, and made it look like similar to SPSS in their tabular view. So there are in SPSS, these are the 7 types of variables. Variables are something where we collect data. Uh, there are 2 types of variables, like dependent variable and independent variable. Dependent variable is like, it's a follow-up question typically. Like, for example, if anyone try to give an example of what can be a dependent variable is, even a variable, if someone can take it, if someone can try what the variable can be.
Dependent variable choosing any kind of mode for our travel. What are the factors affecting the choosing mode? Like travel
Mhm.
time, travel distance, travel cost.
Yes,
That
travel
will
time,
impact your
travel
of
distance.
mode.
Yes, and what can be the independent variable?
Travel time, travel cost, travel distance, comfort level.
In a very easy language, gender.
Yeah, gender. Gender also you can take.
So it's a very gender is very independent. So there are 7 types of variable which have been accepted in SPSS is name, type, width. Width is from how long the data can be, and decimal points. Labels I'll tell you later when we talk about more about the functionality of SPSS. We'll talk about how to label the data, what can be the values, and what the measurement. This is very important. So there are 3 types of nominal data, ordinal data, and scale. So nominal data is something which cannot be affected by other options. Ordinal data is okay. You can see my screen or not?
No, no.
Not
No, we
now.
can't see it.
Okay, so I got a dialog that they are disconnected. Now you can see, right?
Yes.
Is it visible? Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
we
it
were
is visible.
yes, we were on a measurement. Like there are 3 types of measurement: ordinal data, nominal data, ordinal data, and scale. There are 3 types of measurement. Nominal is which is like cannot, does not affected by any other options. Like suppose there is a question like gender. Suppose it's a male or female. So it's a nominal data, because male is not affected by, if someone chooses female, it doesn't mean it is affected by the other options. Where ordinal data is which is affected by the other options, like satisfactory level. Whenever you open a Paytm, you see this now. आप 1 to 10 स्केल पे अपना सेटिस्फेक्शन मेजर कीजिए. So this also comes in ordinal data where the previous options does not affect the first option, and in a scale where one is superior, like one is correct answer, yes, no, and in the data that can be, if we suppose that yes is a right answer, then it can be a scale, and a scale is also this, but it is more of ordinal data other than a scale. So there are two types of scale, but mostly we use Likert scale, like very good, good, neutral, bad, very bad. This is a scale, but this is ordinal too. There is a slightly difference, but when we go through the data, it depends upon the data what we choose according to our need, ordinal or scale. But nominal is strictly where options are not affected by other options. Did you get my point?
Can you repeat the scale part?
So scale is like whenever you open such a app, no, they ask you for feedback, right? How they ask for feedback? Curate your experience into this scale.
Yes. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where 5 is very good and 1 is very bad, right?
It's like
So when
measuring
we collect
the
this,
data,
yeah, someone is asking question.
like measuring the data in terms of range of some value.
I didn't
That's called
understand.
scale.
Your voice is breaking.
Measuring the data with respect to some range of values. That's called scale data.
Yes, so this is range, no? This is range where you scale, means you give your feedback according to that.
Okay, okay.
So this is also called Likert scale. But when we collect data, it can be ordinal, where this is, okay, I'll give you a proper example. Suppose you bought something from the market, and you bought something from Paytm, and they give you, okay, uh, did you like our product? And they give you a scale like this, where 5 is very good and 1 is unsatisfactory. Okay, suppose there are number. So you choose it. Okay, you choose 4. So in here, it is ordinal data because it is like it is increasing in value. Okay, this is also affected by this, and this is also affected by this. So this is ordinal. But when you choose like this, in that way, 1, 2, 3, 4. Suppose you have to go somewhere, and uh, you have to choose from books. Copy. You went in a college and you have to sign up for what your requirements are. Okay, pens and pencils, and you are giving your requirements on this. So this is not dependent. This is a scale, but copy is not dependent on books, right? Did you get my point? Hello. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, it is.
Did you get my point?
Yes, it is clear to us.
Okay, okay. If you have any more questions, we are actually starting the question and answer session. So if you have any more question, any doubts, okay, why should we study SPSS, we can go ahead and okay. No questions? Okay, then I have a question for you. Uh, Tell me where we use data analysis. We all do data analysis in some other way daily life. Tell me in your daily life where you use data analysis skills to make decisions. Okay, I'm stop. And so this is the reference from where these contents had been taken. So photographs is for Jika and we'll do an analysis of learning outcome data. It's from Avanti Fellows. And the framework we use to teach the overall flow is from Research by Design framework. And the PPT, the content, the wordings are taken from UB project, and we will use IBM's SPSS to understand that. Okay, so I am signing out from here. If you have any more questions, please let's start by that, and then we'll move to a very simple to understand the interface, because I asked a permission from Avanti Fellows if I can use their data. So tell me if you have any questions. We can start by answering those.
Sir, I have a
Yes.
yeah.
Muleti. Yes.
Am I audible now?
Yes. You are very audible.
Yeah. So I have a couple of questions. First thing
Mhm.
is this software free or a paid version? I mean, can we get any free demo version for this software?
Yes. You can definitely get a free demo version for 7 days. After that, you have to buy it, and it's a
Okay.
heavily priced software. But there are multiple options for that. You know what I'm saying, but I cannot say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine.
But
And
I'll
one more
not
thing
encourage
is
you to do that. But definitely, it's your choice.
okay.
Yeah.
So one other thing is, for example, if we are working on any kind of data analysis,
Mm-hmm.
what exactly would be the outcome for that data? For example, I have some. If I have some data related to some population and the number of trips coming out of that from a particular zone or something like that.
Yes.
So I have a different data set, and I have a huge data set. Out of that, I would use only some particular part of that.
Mm-hmm. So you were saying that you
So
have yeah. Continue. Sorry.
yeah, I have some city level thing, and out of that, I need only some ward wise or zone wise data.
Right.
So can I
So
separate that from the whole data set?
definitely you can do that. It's a very easy task. Suppose so you are saying that you have a huge data of a city, and if you want to
Yes.
understand uh, some, if you want to categorize it actually, and you want to study only a certain population like ward wise or block wise, you know, this is what your question is, right?
Yes.
Yes, so definitely you can do so. And I guess your second question is very different from what you asked earlier. I guess you asked a very good question in the beginning, that what can be the outcome of data analysis.
Yes.
So for that you have to be very conscious that in the very beginning आपने जब डेटा कलेक्शन स्टार्ट किया है तभी आपको आउटकम क्लियर होना चाहिए कि what do you want to achieve. So in the research,
Okay.
we there is a different methodology of the uh, defining or finding the outcome. But in an industrial, in when you become a practitioner of data analysis, it's a very different. So in research, defining outcome is very different, and in as a practitioner, defining outcome is very different. Like in research, we always take H0, means null hypothesis. Suppose we have to analyze Ayushman Bharat, कि वो सक्सेसफुल है कि नहीं, तो वी ऑलवेज टेक एन अपोजिट ऑफ इट कि लेट्स अज्यूम लेट्स our hypothesis is Ayushman Bharat is not functioning properly or it's not covering properly, it's not impacting the population. So we take opposite of what we want to find. And then we decline our null hypothesis that this hypothesis has been declined. Then the actual, yes, Ayushman Bharat is impactful. You need to decline that Ayushman Bharat is not impactful. So in research, you take this. But when we talk about practitioners like me and you are practitioners, where we have a uh, uh, certain target to meet and certain outcome to achieve, so we collect data according to that. For example, like we recently collected a data of 101 schools in Nashik. So we have a clear outcome that we want to understand the infrastructure part. We want to understand the learning part of okay how students are learning and how their learning outcome is, what teachers qualification is, and is teachers are well qualified to grasp trainings or teach those students. So we have a very clear outcomes. But when we do this part with the research, we don't actually go through this way. Am I able to clear your question, Liti? I'm sorry if I
Yes, sir.
pronounced.
Yes.
Okay. Any more
Yeah, yeah.
questions?
So do we get the cleaned data also from SPSS?
Yes, it can tell you that. I can even show you. Give me a. Okay. So I can show you when
I mean,
I'll.
basically, my question is like, if we have some 100, something like 3 or 4 variables of
Hmm,
100 data set.
hmm,
So out of that, only 80 would be reliable, more reliable. So
right.
I want to exclude the 20.
So you don't need to exclude 20 actually. So what in SPSS you can actually fill those data.
Okay, okay.
So it's called simulation and it reads your whole data, and according to that, it gives you a proper number whenever the data is missing or data is not appropriate. Sometimes people, whenever we do survey, what we find is people have to write in numerical, they write in strings, means use words. So it also
Oh,
considered
yeah, yeah.
data fallacy or incorrect data. So it puts you value according to that. कि वो अपने आप ही वो पूरा data read करेगा. There is a simulation you have to run, and again it will put uh, data according to what your data set is giving. But it will not impact your whole data. You will actually you have to mention whenever you write a report, you have to mention that this percent of my data was simulated and this percent of data is has been corrected, digitally
So
corrected,
it's like the actual data and the adjusted data.
adjusted data. So
Okay,
actual data is going to be very different, right? Actual data is that which you collect from the field. But when you digitally
yeah, yeah.
simulate the data, it's just reading the whole data and giving you some estimation that this can be this without impacting the whole data. Any other questions?
Hello, you meant to say that if there is any illogical data in the data set,
Yeah.
and it will automatically eliminate that data, and rest other data which is logical will consider into analysis,
No. I'm
or it
not.
will hello, yeah.
Yes, yes,
As far as I have used the SPSS, we there also we need to correct the data manually. It will not
yes,
automatically correct.
yes. You
But
can.
the illogical data will not be taken into consideration while analysis. Say if any data type is numerical, and
Hmm,
if by mistake somebody has entered like text,
hmm,
it has given string.
hmm,
So
hmm.
that will lead to error in analysis output. That will not automatically correct it.
So there is a one tool in the SPSS where so it can show you where the data is fall where the data fallacy is happening. It will tell you the string. You can just clear that
The
data
thing
and
is
go
we
to the simulation.
manually we cannot do it automatically. Error
So
correction has
you
to be
can
done.
you can do it automatically too. It will collect your whole fallacy data into one set and it correct it. Means it give you an estimation. Like suppose
Okay,
you have an yes no answer and you have labeled it 1 2. Okay.
1 2.
Yes. Somebody had given it blank.
Yeah.
Okay, suppose there are 10 data sets where two people doesn't fill the data. They give you a blank sheet. So it will considered as a data error. It was considered as some data issue into that. But what you can use the simulation and fill those data according to estimation without impacting the whole data, without impacting the in a very uh, simple words, without impacting any average or without impacting any mean or median data. It will just be used because that person is important. Means if he filled all other 8 variables and thus does not fill 2 variables, you have to include it. Means I suggest you to include it.
We
Just
shall
simulate it.
include it, but it will.
Just
Okay,
simulate
okay.
it. It will. I'm telling you, it will be considered as a 0, but it will not impact your whole data.
Okay, fine. Let's say we'll see how it is happening. If you will explain the
Yes.
interface and the process. Okay.
Yes. Sure. I'll do that. Okay. So, any more questions? No. Okay. So, I'm joining you from different computer. You can see, right?
Not visible, sir.
Not yet.
So I'm sharing a screen from my computer, so you can see it.
Yes,
Yes, right.
it is
Yes,
visible.
now.
Okay. So let me tell you. So you do the data first. So this is the data. So this is the data. Okay. So there is a student ID. This is a student ID. You can see it or not?
Yeah, it's
Yes, we
visible,
can
sir.
see. Please go ahead.
Yes. So what you are seeing? You are seeing SPSS or you are seeing Excel?
No, I think
It's
it's a
It's
SPSS.
SPSS. It's SPSS.
SPSS interface.
Okay. So these are the student ID. This looks like this. This is a student ID. This is a string. How the uh, answer has been given. So it's a yes or no question. So you can clearly see by clicking that. So it's a 4 options questions, and the respondent had selected A, B, or C, D. We had changed into quantitative, and so you can see like there are a lot of data errors, right? See,
So these blanks are data gaps.
no, that is not the data gaps. Those are the answers.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so this. Yeah, so this
So
is
these are the answers given by these students, right?
yes, this is the answer given by the respondents. Okay, question number 1,
And
question
then
number
the blank is the questions answer which is
they
not
didn't
given
answer.
by
They
this.
didn't answer.
Okay.
Okay, they didn't answer it, and this is okay, and this is a variable view. Where these are the questions, these are the variables, and where they give the answers. As you can see, key questions are nominal. Every data is nominal. But what is the problem with this data?
Hello. Before
Yes.
before proceeding into analysis, can you briefly throw light on what is the objective of survey and what type of data is collected? So it will
Yes,
be clear and
that's
we
fine.
can
Yeah,
relate.
Yes.
that
That's why
that correct.
in the Excel file. But okay, so this data is a baseline data of students to understand what their learning outcome is. So these questions has been designed in a way to measure a particular student's learning. where he is in his class or where he is on a particular skill. So the survey has been conducted. The questions has been distributed digitally to the students, and they asked, uh, uh, and it is has been asked to students to respond those questions, and it was all a multiple choice questions. Right?
What are the parameters? On what parameter their performance or their likeliness or performance has been judged?
So it's on NCRT learning outcome. So there is a proper chart of where a student should be in in their class, or what a teacher can expect from a student of class 5th to be do. So that's why.
You mean the level of understanding or
No, the
intelligence of
learning outcome is
students?
very different. Learning outcome is very different. Not the level of understanding. It's students should be there. Like if in a if a student crosses second class, it is expected that he can do a basic of mathematical operations like multiply, addition, and uh, and according to that, the learning outcomes is decided. Okay, after second class, students should be knowing this. After third class, students should be knowing this, and after fourth class, students should be knowing that.
So that's what they will give some input. No, what are the parameters on which they judge that?
I'm so
On
sorry.
that basis,
I'm not able to understand your question.
Basically, we want to know what are the parameters you have designed and how you have collected these response and how you
no.
imported
I'm
there in SPSS.
that. I'm not asking that. Sorry, I am asking. You told that if a NCRT subject is designed or any subject content is designed, and uh, and you want to understand whether a student is able to perform specific question, like you said, mathematical operations. So how will you judge that whether he is doing or not? What are the parameters? Whether it is a score, math score, or whatever assignment is given, what he has scored in that.
So there are multiple ways to measure that. First is a score. So first I'm telling you what it is. It is so there is an organization who works only on English and maths. So they took a baseline of 20 students, sample size of 20 students. They took a test, okay, what the students are performing in the baseline test. Then after the baseline, the intervention will start. And after intervention, there will be an end line test. So any movement into a baseline and end line can show actually the program is successful or not. There are multiple ways to do it. First is quasi-experimental method, and the second is RCT. Okay, how can we do? How can we measure the impact? But just because the population is very short, that means only like 50 to 60 students are there. They took a very least small sample size, like 20 students or 30 students, and they even I guess they took all students into their baseline test, and later on they execute their program, and after that we have an endline data too. So when we move further into the classes, we'll analyze this data only to see how can we figure out how the development of each and every student on each and every questions, how students are developing. Are you able to get my point?
Okay.
No, if you have a doubts, please express it.
No, you see, here are 20 question. Okay.
Yeah.
So these must be the input parameters to understand the understanding of the student or particular student.
Okay.
So
Okay. So
one question is, what is
yeah.
the score? Based on
So
the score, they can judge. What are the
definitely,
other
what I'm
parameters?
saying is
That's what I
currently.
want to understand.
So
You can
currently
broadly or you can
it is
categorize
dependent
the.
upon the score. Currently it is dependent upon the score, but this is not how the measurement of learning outcome performs. You have to see how that student is marked a question. Like, I can dribble on this. No, I cannot dribble. Okay. So like uh, suppose there is a question, tell me what the 7 plus 3 is, right? And we give you a paper,
Okay.
pen and paper, and there are multiple options for that. One option is 10, A is 10, B is 12, 3 is 21, and question is 7 plus 3. Okay, and 4 is something 5, 4. Okay, so if a student is selected 1, so there is only one answer, right? A is the right answer, which is 10, right? But whenever we measure a learning outcome, we see, when especially in a pen or paper mode, we see where has the student had marked. Like if student had marked C, that is 21, what we can take our inference out of it? If a multiple students have marked 21, it is totally dependent upon they multiplied it. Not they didn't add it, they multiplied it. If they if we choose option C, so that's why the marks is one thing. Okay, and there are multiple aspects to understand how these they are growing or not. But currently, just because we have this data, we can assume that the marks are the absolute truth right now. Okay, but it is not function in a that way.
Okay, I think we are going in another direction. Anyways, you may continue.
Okay, so okay, we can have different. Uh, we can talk on a different window. So this is how the data looks like. We export by clicking this. Okay, export. So we have already one data and we exported it from my Excel file. And so you can see, if we see, we have labeled data, and if we in data view, if we change it to 8 to 1, it will be changed into numerical format. So it will create a very easy chance for us to understand, to create a qualitative data into quantitative data. So just giving me this descriptive analysis, if we use descriptive and total, I don't know if total is there or not. If we see standard, so the total is not included into that. So it's a percentage of the whole data. Achha, you cannot see my window.
We can.
No. You are not seeing the output window, no? You are only seeing the data.
Yeah, we can see the output
Yes,
window.
yes, yes.
Now you see the output window, right? So as you see, there are respondents. So first question is 1,211, right? But we have missing 826 responses into frequency if we see that. So there is only valid 385 data students had answered this, but our SPSS is reading that 826 means somehow there are some tables or there's some words in other table. That's why we say data cleaning is very important. So this data is not cleaned at all. Purposefully, this data is not cleaned at all. Okay. So as you can see, it is saying that 826 is student ID is missing and only 385 are valid. But this is very contradicting. Like 385 student ID is there, but the question number 1 has answered 1,211 times. So by this, you can understand that there is some discrepancy in data, and where you need to find out and solve those problems. So if we see the how, like this one 14020545525 student ID has responded 3 times, and it holds a 0.2% in the whole data percentile. Okay, so uh, it's a it's very easy to see कि कहाँ से क्या हो रहा है. So you can see कि question number 1 को कितने लोगों ने आंसर किया है. frequency is again 839, total respondent is again 839, but 69.3 is valid percentage. 69.3 is a valid percentage where 69.3% people have responded to these questions, but you have to see that this should be 100. दैट मीन्स कि जितना हमारा वैलिड परसेंटेज है 69.3 परसेंटेज है, उसमें जो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन का आंसर दिया है 6.9% लोगों ने फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन चूज किया है, फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन का फर्स्ट ऑप्शन चूज किया है, फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन का सेकंड 18.6 लोगों ने चूज किया. सो when we compare this data to the actual question mark, we will able to understand that कि आखिर 225 रिस्पॉन्सेज जो हैं हमारे वो क्वेश्चन वन में दूसरे ऑप्शन को सिलेक्ट किया. इज दैट राइट और नॉट? है ना? सो एंड देन वी कैन टेक अ इन्फ्लुएंस आउट ऑफ इट कि आखिर बच्चे ने वहां किया क्या है ना? इफ ही मल्टीप्लाइड और प्लस और व्हाट, देन वी सी कि जो 6.9 है, 6.9 में आखिर बच्चे ने कौन सा थ्योरी लगा के एक चूज किया है. इट्स नॉट अबाउट द करेक्ट आंसर, इट्स अबाउट टू फाइंडिंग द गैप्स. Ultimately you have to solve this, you have to use this data to solve the problem, you have to solve the pedagogical problem. So we have to find out where this 6.9% mein kya, we have to find what we say relation ki what is why the student has put a 6, why the student has chosen A is in a question number 1. So we can break that for every question. I had break down for only 5 questions. We need to break down this whole and then we'll create a summary out of it. So this is a graph representation for question number 1. Again, you see C is the B is the most selected answer. And this is this descriptive, just because the data is flaw, means it have a huge flaw right now because 889 frequencies are missing. So it is showing that minimum and maximum it added actually, and you cannot make anything out of it. That's why data cleaning is very important whenever we do a descriptive analysis, because it is important because it gives you a mean and standard deviation. You have to find out where the every answer is located at where the students are selecting the most answers, means options, which option is has been selected the most. So that's why we use the standard deviation. But again, to understand SPSS, it's very important to build at least a basic knowledge of statistics. You should be aware of what the center tendency is, what the standard deviation is, what the regression is, what the correlation is, what the frequency is, what about the unbreakable frequency is, what is the Bayesian law. You have to a basic knowledge around this, and then SPSS will be a very easy tool to understand, to accumulate a huge number of data and combining into a very representable form. So as you can see, this is 1,211 responses for the questions, but it's very easy to read this, okay, where they had which student had selected, but which not which student has selected what option. We can also do that, but कि क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 में कौन से सवाल को सबसे ज्यादा बार सिलेक्ट किया है. There is a one thing, as I am seeing the this output, I am also gathering this information. If you can see that there is a 69.3, and again in question it's a 69.6, and in question number 3 69.2. So there is a huge data error into this. Not huge, there is always 0.5% error is acceptable when you collect. 2% is collectible when you collect from manually, and 0.5% when you collect digitally, and something like that. But there is just because data discrepancy, you can see there is a difference. It should always be same. It's like frequency in question number 2, 843 respondents are there. In question number 1, 839 respondents are there. It should be all. Means if you want to create if you want to take out a strong inference, these all numbers should be same, and this all percentage should be 100. Okay, so any more questions, doubts, anything else?
Yeah, I have one doubt actually.
So the table that we are seeing right now in this, the percentage column. So
Yeah.
the software says the valid percentage is 69.3. I'm talking about question number 1 right now.
Yes, yes.
Right? So if we look at the responses percentage, it does not add up. So if you add up the responses of 1, 2, 3, and 4, it does not add up to 69.3
No,
anyway.
no, no. So you have to add this too. If you add this, still you are not getting the 100.
No, that is okay.
Yeah.
So the valid is 69.3. So if this should be divided across 4, this is my question.
No, 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 no. It should not be divided across 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how is this distributed? That is my
So,
question.
yes. So
So
as I'm saying,
what data it is calling valid?
so the respondents where a student ID is available because has been segregated by student ID. So the 69.3% is student IDs validated. Let me share a screen. So this percentage is like कि इतने percent 69.3% out of 839 has responded to this question. Okay, and then it's not necessary that everyone has selected 1, 2, or 3, or 4. Right, 6.9% only out of the valid percentage, not out of the valid percentage, apart from the valid percentage, that 6.9 has been selected. 6.99 has been respondents. 18.6 is B question, as you can see in the graph also. Okay, question number B has been chosen the most, and it is categorized by the unique student ID. So only 69.3% the student have their student ID in this data frame. Did you understand?
Okay, I get the picture, I think. Thank you.
Yeah. Any more questions? Because we are moving toward the end of the this session, and there is a lot more. There is not possible to clear each and every doubt in just 1 hour and so it requires time. I am also a practitioner. Definitely, I also want to learn a lot when I discuss with you guys. Okay, and I'm expecting we can collectively move toward what our goal is. So if you have any more questions, I'm happy to answer it. And shall I stop presenting the screen, or do you have any more questions?
I have
Can
one
you
doubt.
show
Can you?
uh,
Yeah.
the
Okay,
output
Sneha.
window?
Which window?
This output window, how did you come to this? Like I got the data view window and the
Okay, so whenever
variable.
okay, so you didn't saw that, right? So whenever you go to this, whenever so actually I'm sharing this screen only. Whenever you go to data and analyze, descriptive analysis, and here are the few things where you can uh, from here you goes to your output window. Whenever you go up there, analyze, and whenever you analyze, you went to the output window. So you again, I want to share all screen. It's not possible to share all screen. So like this, whenever you go to this analyze reports, whatever report you want, descriptive statistic, this is a very basic statistics, and you choose these options, and you choose these options, and you select. Like, okay, my computer is not functioning well, so it is uh, taking time. So you select these options, you move towards there. Like if I want to reject it, and I only want to see the student ID and question number 1 response. We do OK, and it gives you, it takes you to the output window. Again, it takes you to the output window. So just because I'm not able to share all screen, it's not possible for you guys to see that because whenever we choose output, it goes to a very different window. So I'm not able to share that window. I don't know why there is not any option to share a whole screen. Okay. Yes, now it's possible. Who's there? We go to analyze, go to descriptive, and suppose ki there are two. I don't know why descriptive now. We go to frequencies. We select these two questions. Okay, and we put OK. So there is a whole. Again, this is how the output window comes. Okay, this is the question number 1 and its data. Did you get my point?
Yes, sir.
So any more doubts, any more questions related to why should we know SPSS and how can SPSS help? I'm ready to answer those questions. Apart from key, and because when we move forward, we'll see key how even we'll start by statistics, understanding a common understanding. We build a common understanding on statistics, descriptive statistics, and inferential statistics, and then we'll move toward the SPSS. So the course structure has already been shared with the planning insights. For 2 weeks we'll work on only, will give you some overview of statistics. Definitely it requires a lot of that requires some practice because it's numbers. And later on in the second week we'll move toward the SPSS. We'll collect some data. We'll take some data from Kaggle and tweets data. I am very interested into understanding how the tweets function and how in a particular day of certain keywords being used by the whoever tweets, and we'll find a common trends. We'll find a trends over the keywords, how the keywords is being used in a Twitter. So there will be some experiencing. We'll all do it together, and so I'm not a teacher, I'm a facilitator. So definitely it's going to be a two-way. I'll learn from something from you and you will learn something from me. So this is how I'm thinking our future uh, engagements. So if you have any more doubts, you can reach out to me, or and definitely you can ask question here. So right now I'm stopping this and stop sharing my screen. If you have any more questions, please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for this insightful webinar. Uh, has does anyone has some questions regarding the course or regarding today's session? Also, the team has uploaded a Google form link in the chat box. This is about your interest to attend the course, which can be started. So we only have limited seats. We are maximum trying for a seats of 40, group of 40. Since it is in online mode, not all can be accommodated. So if we get a 40, we will start a class probably by next week on SPSS software, which also includes the basics, the theory, and then of course the hands-on training on SPSS software. Is anyone requesting everyone to please fill that form? And also, if anyone has any questions, the floor is open. You can go ahead and ask. Thank you.
No one? I guess there is no questions. So
Yes, no questions. I'm again uploading the link in the chat box. If anyone was not able to access it, now they can.
okay, thank you all. Thank you so much for attending. And I know there are a lot of doubts which are unclear, uh, but I know you guys understand this 1 hour is not enough to clarify all the doubts. I'm looking forward to all. Our course has been designed in a way that we have a proper Q&A sessions where uh, we together sit, means online, we'll together interact and find out where we all are making mistakes, because it's a technical tool, and there can be a lot of glitches to find uh, the errors. So the course has been designed in a way that we'll first move towards the statistics part. We'll build a basic understanding of statistics and probability, and then, because probability is very important if you want to understand if you want to do a projections, when you want to estimate something in your course or uh, in your job role, projection is very important. I feel like projection is very important because you have to deal with the warranties, the vendors and all. So projection and cost estimation is very important, population estimation is very important. And to understand it, we'll build a basic understanding on probability, and then we'll move toward the SPSS, because SPSS is just a tool where you will use your statistical understanding to to execute it on that tool. You will not do it manually. You will do it on a platform. So the understanding of statistics is very important. We'll start by that. We'll have a hands-on session. We'll have I'll share a few data pointers with you. We'll start by manual understanding of it, and then we'll move towards the digital part of it, and then we'll do a hands-on part there. And we'll see how much time you take on your manual part analysis and how much time you take SPSS by using SPSS and other tools. If you have any question related to the course, why should we do that, why it is necessary in the times, and why not the other tools, why SPSS, you can ask those questions right now. And if not, then Bhagesh, we can end this session.
Yes, sir. So we can conclude this today's session. Thank you so much for guiding all of us through this and through the world of statistics. Hoping for such an another exciting and an insightful course ahead. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
same.
you.